Ladies and gentlemen, we are here on the We Weekly Free podcast, episode 3. Last week we talked about our school days, didn't we? And the podcast before we talked about initiation period. We've initiated you, John,
yes.
And we feel that you've kind of passed the test, really. You
no,
know,
thanks.
It's quite a daunting task taking over the charismatic individuals of Ashton Cross and Dan Clayton, but you've definitely lived up to the name. So, filled their boots. Anyway, we're not starting OnlyFans. We are actually.
Thanks for clarifying.
Basically, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to ask you, how did you feel about the podcast last week? Did you enjoy it?
Yes, I did. I feel like I'm, really settling in, and I sound like a footballer saying that after a transfer, but no, I'm really happy with how the first couple of episodes have gone, and proud to be a part of this project. It's exciting, and it's something that I've got a passion for, and hoping we can go far.
Absolutely. Oh, that's brilliant, yeah. No, do you know what, John? That is class. I'm so glad that you enjoyed last week's episode. Are you feeling a bit lonely, though, just us two?
Yeah.
I am.
I think we need a third person.
Oh, well, I think we need a third person this week,
I think the viewers can agree as well.
Do we have it? Yeah, we can do it.
Yeah,
we can do
I think so. I mean, there is a chair there.
That is a strange. Why is there a chair
there?
there?
There's two of us, but there's a third chair.
Why is there a chair
what's the deal
there?
with that?
What the hell? What the hell? What the hell? Why is there a chair there?
I don't know.
Who are you?
Hey?
I don't think you're meant to be in here.
What are you doing here?
I knew you guys very well, and I just wanted to say a lovely hello to both of you today.
Oh,
Dillon! No way,
What
it's
a nice
Dillon
surprise.
Woodhall. What a nice surprise. Dillon, nice to see you, mate. Nice to see you. It is the artist himself, Dillon Woodhall, as well.
Good to see you.
Take a seat, please.
Take your seat, please.
So, how are you both today? It's been so long.
It
guys.
has been really long. I mean, again, we're following up from school days, so we can't have a podcast without the one and only Dillon Woodhall.
I knew nothing about it.
You didn't know?
No.
Oh!
Nothing about it.
You must have just broke in then,
I
Dillon.
probably was like Spider-Man. You see in the roof, I was like climbing into the roof and then down the black wall.
There is actually a massive little bit of damp, like where there could have been a hole there. So
matey.
Spiders like to breed in
Or
damp places.
possibly like Nicolas Cage, Superman.
Oh, maybe. I prefer Christopher Reeves.
Yeah.
Personally, I really do.
Never seen it.
Who's your favourite Superman, Dillon, since John's boring?
I haven't really watched many of the Superman films, but for Batman, it's got to be Michael Keaton. I just think Michael Keaton is just an excellent Batman. He's quite a serious actor, he is, and that's why I appreciate him so much. Plus, he puts the seriousness with like the quirkiness, because Tim Burton's style was very quirky, but very German expressionist.
Yeah, for sure. My favourite's Christopher Reeves. I don't think any Superman defeats Christopher Reeves. I get told I look like him a lot. I'm probably more of the fatter, out of shape version of Christopher Reeves these days. But To be
fair, George, you remind me of like the Batman George Clooney.
The Batman. Oh no! That film absolutely stunk the ship.
Yeah.
That film stunk the ship, just like my presenting skills, having to check the audio is still on, I tell you. Anyway, Dillon,
yes,
you are
matey.
on here today. I just wanted to ask you a quick question, Dill.
Yes, George.
And I'm sure that John's got plenty of questions for you also.
Nice.
And whatever, We met at school, didn't we?
Yes.
You met both of us at school.
I remember it was on a Monday and it was the start of a new term and I was very young. I was 9 years old, came all the way from like Spilsby, from another special needs school in Spilsby called Artpiece School, which was an okay school, but helped me develop as an individual. But during the first day, I remember I was very shy. I went to Mr. office and he helped me support me in that time. The classroom that I was in was Mrs. class, and I remember that there was two TAs. One was a lovely lady who occasionally does like the potato judging at Lincolnshire showground, and the other one was a really large guy. He was quite nice, he was, but he apparently told us a story where he once got lost at sundown at Adventureland.
Actually, I've been lost there, actually, I'll be honest. I remember being there as a kid, and I basically was there, and I was playing on the equipment. I could not see my Auntie Katie, my Nana, or my mum anywhere, and I was like thinking they'd left me, and probably a good choice if they did, actually. They made a very nice decision there, but unfortunately for them, I linked back with them later, but I ended up thinking, oh, where am I? I started running, going, Mum! Still haven't found her to this day. But basically, I was running along, and this guy with a hat, and I could always remember him, and he came up and he said, oh, you're right, mate. I don't know where my mum is. And I think he led me. It was either him or someone else, because I seem to think that someone else led me there. So I must have ran past him and found someone else, and then someone else led me to this lady, and she had the walkie-talkie, and Mum found me, and I was like thinking, oh my God. She's like, why the hell did you run off? It was in the hot dog stand, you silly boy.
I just thought you'd have been the one in the hot dog stand.
Yeah, after I was, believe me.
You was kidnapped by a teddy bear, matey.
If there's anyone at Sundown, if people that worked at Sundown, and if they was the ones that found me, I would soon be running back to my mummy, I tell you that for a fact. But everyone's been lost and found, haven't they? Yeah. You know what I mean? Everyone's had a story where they've got lost.
Yeah,
I've got a story about Sundown, but it doesn't involve getting lost or anything. So I think I was about 12. Yeah. Ridiculous, at that age you should be more mature and, not so scared about these things, stop acting like a child. But I've got a story actually, and it involves the teacup ride, which is really, really funny looking back on it, but at the time I was so embarrassed. So I was on the teacup ride, and my brother was the one, he was in charge of spinning, in control of the teacup ride. Yeah. And honestly, they don't go that fast, but being sat on that ride, I was going, to me, it felt like we were going 100 miles an hour spinning round, which it never usually is. It's never usually that fast. Yeah. But I was that dizzy. I was so scared that I thought I was just going to get flown off and just, chucked about and end up in a tree dead.
Don't mind me asking, John, sorry. When you were in the teacup ride, were you drenched by tea? Or did you want a tea? No,
nothing to do with tea. It was nothing like that. I had to get them to stop the ride. Oh. I was screaming, no, we're going to die. And honestly, everybody else was so calm and composed. They were having the time, they were enjoying it, but that was just me. Never been on this ride before. And to tell you the truth, I don't like roller coasters or rides, unless it's a ride that goes at about 15 miles an hour or no heights involved.
Are you alright with the dodgems? Because they can be a pain sometimes, especially when you get hit.
Never been on a dodgem.
Oh, it's so mental when you go on dodgems.
I think the last ride I went on was about 3 years ago at Flamingo Land, and it was a ride, and it was like a roller coaster, but it wasn't like a really high roller coaster. Still high enough for me to shout and swear and that, but no, it was that one was calm. I enjoyed that one, but the teacup ride not so much. I wouldn't do that one again.
I've been to Flamingo Land last year, if I'm honest, John, with my family, and it was quite a nice vacation it was.
I thought it was quite boring.
Yeah.
Then again, that's just me though. I tend to find those things boring. But
fair enough.
Really?
You do when you get to a certain age.
Yes.
Bloody hell, John, you're only 19.
I'm only 19, but I'm sat here talking like a guy who's middle-aged, saying, you get to a certain age and you get bored of something and that. Yeah. Maybe I'm a 45-year-old man disguised as a 19-year-old.
You maybe are, and if that's the case, then I think we really seriously need to get you researched, John?
Get me researched.
In a biological lab?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I get called sad because I go home and watch soaps.
Oh, you're fine, mate. Speaking of soaps,
Oh, God.
we've got to speak about this.
Oh, yes.
I'm sure you know about this.
Oh, talking about soaps again.
R.I.P. Martin Fowler.
No relation.
No.
Do you know, I was sat there watching EastEnders the other day and he died, and somebody on Twitter said to me, "My condolences to you," and I'm just like, see what you did there. Because of the surname, but no, he's not. He's a fictional character, and I'm a real person. That's the difference.
I mean, R.I.P. to Martin Fowler if he was a real person.
He's not the first death in the Queen Vic, though.
He's not the first death in the Queen Vic, and he certainly won't be the last. Let's be honest, unless EastEnders gets the plug pulled on it.
Yes.
You know,
Can't ever see that happening.
no, I can't.
I got an idea for like a new soap. So it's basically about like Sinsel Banquet and John owns. So basically, John owns a pub. He's a 45-year-old man.
He already is.
I mean, I've just kind of given my age away.
And George is like the Ronnie Cray of Sinsel Bank.
I look very youthful for 45.
Am I?
Yeah. With his double barrel shotguns, and he always like goes in there for a quick pint, and then he runs away with the peanuts.
I probably do, mate, yeah. To be honest, the pork scratchings is probably more of an accurate.
Oh, no.
I love pork scratchings.
Oh, no. Ugh. Pigs are disgusting.
More like his wife's mince pies.
Whoa. What have you been doing with your wife's mince pies, John?
Oh, I can only have those at Christmas.
Oh man! Speaking of which, absolutely. I would. That is a brilliant idea, by the way, Dillon. That would be a funny soap. Just have me stealing peanuts. I mean, we had one of the Slaters steal the Queen Vic's head. If you remember.
Who was that? Who stole the head? Who was it? Which Slater was it? Because I don't think there was.
It might have not been a Slater. It was actually Dean, wasn't it?
Dean Wicks.
It was Dean Wicks. I've botched the episode. Dean Wicks. He stole the Queen's head, and then Grant Mitchell was like, "You're gonna give it back," and he had like this intense stare. So it's gonna be like that. Basically.
It reminds me of that Simpsons episode where Bart Simpson is like targeted by some teenage kids, and he cuts off Jebediah Springfield's head.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
And the town was so mad with him, and they started grabbing their pitchforks and demanding part. They like.
Well, that's.
Couldn't imagine someone doing that in the Queen Vic with the bust of the Vic.
They'd get arrested.
Speaking of, there is no Queen Vic at the minute though, seeing as it's been burnt to a crisp and destroyed. Where are the locals of Wolford going to have their pints now then?
How was it burnt, don't want me asking?
Oh, you've missed it, haven't you? You've got a whole lot of catching up to do.
I'm too old for this, man.
You're not that old.
I am. I'm like a 66-year-old man in a 20-year-old body.
Do you know what? There's too much 5G on these phones, isn't there? There's too much
right,
blue radiation. Blue radiation coming out of these phones. You lot are all talking about.
This has turned into the conspiracy podcast.
You are all talking about backs aching. Oh, I'm getting too old. You're 19. I feel like Hulk Hogan.
You cheeky bastard.
Hopefully, I've got a better hairline, but I'm feeling like Hulk Hogan.
Are we allowed to swear on this podcast?
I mean, go for it, I suppose.
You cheeky bastard. I'm not old. I don't complain about my back. Nah.
Well, what I'm saying is, you lot are all like, "Oh, I'm getting old." It's these screens. I tell you. Speaking of which, I'm the one with the phone.
You do sound like an old man. You do sound like an old man. You're the one whose phone's on the table.
Yeah.
Mine was switched off.
So that defeats the object of me being an old man then, because I've got a phone near me.
Mine was switched off. So, no distractions for me.
I reckon you could be part of the IT crowd.
Oh no, not sure about that.
I think you'd be good for it, John, so you could like teach everyone how not to use a computer and how not to properly use a phone. You could always like flush the phone down the toilet.
Flush the phone down the toilet.
John, yeah, absolutely. Why don't you flush the phone down the toilet?
They'll cost a lot of money, you know.
That is true. That is true.
No, I'm not a tech. I don't pretend to be a tech geek. I'm not a tech geek, but nah, I think if you asked me to sort something out on a computer, I could probably do it to some degree.
I should hope so. I mean, it's really handy when you go into a workplace or wherever these days to use Word
Yeah,
document, isn't it?
that's true.
Absolutely.
I didn't have Word document back in my day. Remember, I'm a 45-year-old man.
That is, yeah, suppose 45. So how old would you be now?
What do you mean? I'm 45 now.
Yeah, no, I mean, when was you born?
1980.
Yeah,
I
you'd
reckon-
been, yeah, of course.
79,
no,
80.
you'd have been 79 because you.
Well, it depends on us. Depends on us.
Would you
born.
be turning 46 this year?
Okay,
John?
yeah, 79.
Yeah, there. So you're 1979.
79, yeah.
Bloody hell.
I
That is-
reckon you would use your Commodore 64.
My Commodore 64.
And you would be writing cat all day.
Would you be filming these podcasts on a Nokia brick back in the day?
Probably in 2003, maybe.
Dillon, so I'm really curious. You are a man of many talents,
Yes.
of course. But first of all, before we delve into how you found these talents, a bit of foreshadowing in my eyes there, I would like to ask you, school days. So it's all about your first day at school.
Yes.
How did you meet us? I remember, of course, but I'm just, for the viewers that don't know, from your point of view, how did you meet me and John? Who did you meet first? Did you meet second? What was it like?
So I remember seeing you on the first day because you had the fuzzy hair, and I remember seeing you in the dinner hall. On that day, we had like spaghetti meatballs and the apple crumble. Although I was a bit funny with the apple crumble because the apples were slimy.
Oh, yes.
God, how do you remember that? It's been 11 years, Dill.
Yes.
How the hell do you remember
I
that?
do vaguely actually remember that, you know.
Yes.
I do vaguely remember
And I remember that we used to
remember the
play
goldfish.
like, as we grew older, like basically when we was at 10, we would normally play wrestling in the garden, but although we would get told off for that.
Yes.
bet the viewers are
So when me and Dillon talk about playing wrestling, I would be Stone Cold Steve Austin and he would be The Rock or something like that, you know.
Do you remember that time that I got my eye nearly cut, to be fair?
How did you get it caught?
So basically, someone was wrestling me on top.
That's a bit rough, Dillon.
And then Mrs. Curtis had to like take me back to the doctors.
Oh gosh.
It was like, ow, ow, and then tears were coming out as if I was a drain pipe.
Whoa, that was very intense by the sounds of it, and intense. But no, that bloody heck, Dillon, I can't. I remember this now. I remember this. I remember actually. Yeah, because you had your hair up, didn't? Yeah, no, that is
What,
coming.
my top nail?
Yeah, that's coming back to me now. I can't
That was in
believe
the era.
that was so long.
I think I remember Dillon with long hair.
Oh my
I definitely
gosh.
remember you with long hair, George.
Yes,
Definitely remember that.
there's basically
Long hair, school shirt, jumper, jeans.
Yeah, I mean, I think I wore normal.
It was an interesting combination.
I wore normal trousers at the time, if I remember
Something
rightly.
like that.
Yeah.
Yes, and then plimsolls.
Plimsolls.
Do you remember a silly rule at school where if we were like tied like a jumper over a waist, we would get told off? And I was like,
Why? That is really strange. I've never heard this before. I know we weren't allowed Coke.
it was mostly one of the tutors said, "Oh, don't wear the cardigan on your waist, otherwise it'll get lost." And I'm like, I know how to
Not if you
take
tie
care. Yeah.
How does that make sense? You'd get lost. It's tied to you.
It's school for you, matey. School is supposed to be strict.
Yeah.
But at the time, we enjoyed it. We had so much good memories, especially when we played our own games, we made films. They were the days. And I bet the filmmaking process back at school really influenced your ideas.
My gosh, my goodness me. John was even privy to this. You're 20 years out your prime. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes.
With me and Dillon basically made a little like action film.
Yes.
They were wrestling, I can confirm.
Mainly.
So basically we had a bit where we was arguing. It's like, oh, you know, I'm going to beat you up. And I said, you can't beat me up. You're about 20 years out your prime. and it was like that Dennis Rickman, or you've had a bit too many kebabs to beat me, Phil Mitchell. Do you remember that?
No, I don't think I do. No, I don't think I do.
Anyway, and so that was like a line we remember, and we was playing this, and then we was filming on the school laptops, weren't we? I so wish we had them saved.
Do you remember when when we wrestled in like the class in the store in the staff room? Like,
What? I don't actually
If I
remember
remember
this.
correctly, it was actually the teacher's classroom.
yeah,
The teacher's, like the staff teacher's room. I don't know what they call it. Teacher's cupboard.
yeah.
Yeah, where the teachers would put the coats and all.
Oh yeah, lost property. Yeah.
The Scots sweets.
And I think I wasn't filming it. Someone else was filming it, I think, and I was just sat in the corner, just giggling my head off as these two were just scrapping in the cupboard. It was funny. Obviously, they weren't scrapping in the sense that they were having a full on fight, but no, it was fun.
It was good.
Gosh, yeah, I remember that.
Until the teachers told him to stop because they were being a little bit aggressive.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I've got another memory. Do you remember back in year 11 and we made that war film? So basically, it was like Full Metal Jacket but in World War II, and I was like the stupid like lieutenant, and you were like the Arlie Ernie of Britain.
Yeah, I was. I remember. And I was dressing you down when I doing the whole being a general sergeant. You're like, you maggot, you call this an exercise, do me 20 push-ups.
Do you remember that line you said, Hitler is a bastard?
Oh yes, I did, yes. And then, someone we knew out of nowhere, I looked up and I saw him, he's like, grenade! I don't know why he improvised this. I was like, get down! And I just grabbed Dillin and went on top of him. And then and then as I was on top of him, right, this doesn't sound dodgy.
No, it doesn't.
At all. I was like, flailing my arms around,
Do you know the worst thing about it was there were dog walkers.
Yes.
There were dog walkers walking past.
There was
I
a
saw a
fence
bloke walking
to
his
the
dog.
side, wasn't
Yeah, he
there?
was walking down there. I
Yes.
think there was like a dike, a bank, and it led off to Highcombe Road. And he was just walking his dog down there, and all he could hear was these two kids just like shouting and play fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember once like one of the kids in our classroom kicked a ball over that gate, that fence?
Oh, they did it so many times, Dillon. So many times, like.
Garden in that porta cabin.
We did.
We even had a washing line as well at one point. Like the wash, like the thing you hang your clothes on after you've washed them.
Yeah.
I can't remember what they're called.
Yeah.
You can tell
A
I do
washing
a,
line.
you can tell I do a lot of jobs at home. We had one of those as well at one point.
Yeah.
We had like a little guy. We had a bench as well.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
And it was kind of like it was separated. So
Gazebo, wasn't it? There was a gazebo.
There was a gazebo, but that was on the
Queen Garden, Jubilee Garden.
Oh
do you know,
yes.
the gazebo's still there, I think.
No,
It's got taken down now. Yeah.
it's a lot different now.
It's a lot different because we drive past it and I go to Lincoln games a lot on the coach and they'll always drive down that road and you'll always see like the school. It's changed a lot, really.
The Jubilee Garden, in my opinion, isn't as good as it used to be. It's just like a nuclear, it's just like a forbidden land.
You're not going to compare it to Chernobyl?
No,
are you?
matey.
Okay, thank God for that.
I wish they could have added a bit more like character to it, like paintings or stones, or probably a statue of you and George.
A statue of me. Yeah. No, do you know what? That gazebo used to look really nice, and then it got let go, and then. I remember, and I'll include some pictures that were in episode 2. There's one picture of me digging some of the ferns out. And basically, what happened was I fell in love with gardening. I don't know why. I just felt so compelled to just get that garden complete.
Yes.
And I remember, so that garden, it was overgrown. And all of the classes, it was in a teacher's class at the time. It was a woman, and we basically went out and we did some jobs for her.
Yes.
And we did it for quite a long time. We were prepping for the Lincolnshire show because we were going to showcase our stuff at the Lincolnshire show. Right. So with that being said, basically we got all that done. But I could just remember being so determined to get everything done. Everyone would go back in class and I'd just be out there just ripping stuff out and trying to make the garden as best as it could. I remember that, and I was like, I don't know why, I just really enjoyed it. Making, weeding everything, laying the plants out there, and it was just such a... I just loved it. Loved every minute of it. And then after the after result pictures were brilliant. We did so much with all the students did so much with the garden, and it was a fantastic display of what could be achieved when you put your mind to it and you work as a team.
The garden was very, very amazing at the time. It helped so many kids, it did. If they wanted to like have a break or if they were upset, they could always go to that garden just to like calm down or just have a few minutes. It was such a relaxing garden, and much respect to you guys for doing that garden. Don't mind me asking, was that garden in tribute to someone?
It was just a Jubilee garden originally, because I remember being there at the Jubilee and I had my face tattooed, the Union Jack, the UK flag, for anyone that doesn't know. And basically...
For anybody who didn't pass geography at school.
Britain.
Or wasn't aware of their flags.
So I had the Union Jack on my face, and I remember a few weeks before there was assembly, and there was one of the teachers was up there going, we've received a letter from the Queen, because we invited the Queen to come round.
Did you actually?
Yeah, we invited the Queen to come round, and we received a response. She opens up the letter and she goes, and it was very historical. And I'll get to the bit later. But she says...
Oh, you're leaving us on a cliffhanger.
Ooh.
She says, "Dear, it is wonderful to hear from you." And in that moment I was thinking, oh God, no way is the Queen coming. Unfortunately, the Queen is unavailable and cannot come. And I was like... But then one of her... people that helped open ribbons and people that work for her, and it was a brilliant day still, don't get me wrong, but I just remember thinking, nah man, imagine if the Queen came.
Yes.
Anyway, that it was a big public event, a lot of the press came there, and it was the head teacher's last time there, so I suppose the garden was a little bit in memory to him. As the new head teacher from the other school came, and they both handed over, kind of in a beautiful way, the keys to the school. But there was the Red Arrows were actually hired, and they were flying over propensely, and the leader of the Red Arrows was actually there on ground with us, talking to us. And Musical Pete, I think I'll say him because he was just like the music teacher, he was performing there. One of the other teachers, I don't know if everyone his name mentioned, he was playing guitar and the band was playing. And it was a really good day, and that's, I think, was an inspiration for a year later, because we had a teacher who's another musical teacher there, who and I think that inspired World Music Day for sure, absolutely.
I just really appreciate World Music Day at our school. Yeah. It was such a beautiful day that day. Yeah. It was every June it was, and we got to hear so much beautiful music by various students. And I remember many local bands would perform there.
They would, wouldn't they?
And it was a time just to spend time with family, spend time with students, and even the teachers. And we would normally get a face painted, usually have a hot dog and a burger. I miss those times, to be fair.
Yeah, I remember that day. No, that Children in Need was when a big Irish rugby teacher had his face tattooed. Yes. But there was another time at this school where everyone was face painting, and I just remember playing football for hours in the evening show. But no, it was a wonderful time. It was a wonderful time. So we used to play football, didn't we, Jet?
It was later on when I was in year 10 and year 11.
Yeah, that's what
I remember when it was Red Nose Day as a child, I would sometimes play football. I remember that we used to kick a really bouncy ball, which was so large it was.
Yeah, very big. I remember that, and we had such a... that was Red Nose Day, that was teachers.
Yes.
None of the students played that game. It's just teachers versus teachers. Yeah. One teacher's captain and the other teacher's captain, we all had to watch. And then there was a big football game after that we played, where all the students would wrestle each other for this big bouncy ball.
Oh, yeah.
And even one of the Robbie Williams tribute artist is what I'm going to refer to him for this podcast. Even he got involved.
Oh, man.
And he was wrestling kids off and trying to kick the ball. He was so competitive.
Yeah.
It was so funny. But yeah.
To that, you know, like the meme of Boris Johnson rugby tackling that kid.
Yes,
at rugby.
literally,
Yeah.
was that.
I can picture him doing that.
What's your best moment with Dillin, John, at the school?
Probably the time where we played football, and
Yeah.
to be honest, there's that many memories. I can't really think of any specific.
You used to play on the opposite team with Ben and Jason, didn't
Oh,
you?
yeah.
We always put the more able players on one team and the players who weren't maybe as good on the other team.
It was mostly Jason, Ben.
Don't get me wrong, they had some good players.
I think there was a fine mix at times, but then there's a couple of the players that weren't, I suppose, were up to par.
It was embarrassing for some of them, some days. Batter them 7-0 and you'd still have the same player each day, win, lose, draw, always saying, I won, my team. It's always about him. It's always about him.
Always about him,
Always
wasn't
about
it?
him.
Absolutely.
But no, not saying it's bad, but yeah, sometimes you've got to take defeat. But the competitiveness was there, and you know we all wanted to win.
Plus, it was a good time at the time.
Winning and losing are both imposters.
Yes.
You win, you're an ultimate high. You lose, you have a learning experience, and it's almost a win in a way because you learn from it. If you treat those imposters the same, you're on it for life. I tell you, absolutely. There's many times that this sounds like a sob story. Many times that I've lost in my life. Many of times where I've been rock bottom. Many a times where I'm sure you two have been. Felt like there's no way back.
Yes.
But there always is. You just got to keep believing that today is yours, and you'll be today's master. You know what I mean? Your world is your oyster, lads.
It is.
Go and chase it, because at the end of the day, you only have one life. So why not put everything into what you're doing?
The toughest opponent in life is life itself, and if you continue to go through life, you'll be a better man. It's like in Rocky. Rocky goes through a lot of stuff in life, but he goes and trains a lot. He punches the meat, but no matter what, he continues. He tries and tries again.
Apollo Creed, it was knocking him down. He just kept getting up, didn't he?
It's like Arnie in his documentaries. Like as a child, he wanted to become like bodybuilding because he was influenced by some American bodybuilders, as he was from Austria. And I even hear some stories that, as he was such an ambitious man, he would occasionally break into the gym, more specifically Gold's gym.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that. Yeah, no, I don't remember. But he, why is this man breaking into the gym? This big guy. But no, I've heard about that, and he couldn't afford it, could he? So some at times as well. He was a great man. Was Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yes.
A big inspiration to many. Muhammad Ali had many of low moments in the ring. Of course, when Smoking Joe Frazier defeated him at Madison Square Garden, rematched him a few years later, defeated him, and then the Thriller in Manila and defeated Smoking Joe. Absolutely, you just got to keep going through adversity. And I suppose that's what I admire about boxers and boxing in general, is that with boxing there's this element of, you are against yourself in a way. You're against your own thoughts and you're against the person in front of you. And I admire the boxers that no matter how bad it gets in the ring, they just keep getting up and fighting on. That's just such an admirable quality, for sure. But I think it's just a great lesson in life in general. If you put your mind to something, you will achieve it. You will see it. Sometimes our greatest enemy is ourselves. I know this firsthand. My greatest enemy at times has been myself, but my greatest friend at times has been myself. But it's all about going through those moments, learning from them, and once you learn those lessons, I suppose you become stronger.
Yes.
What doesn't kill you makes you strong.
As you said before, George, when I think about like discovering a mystery or investigating a case, it reminds me of like the journey to like investigation is much more interesting than finding the results, because you get to understand more about the opponent, more about the witnesses and the city itself and the environment.
Yeah, no,
It reminds me of a bit of Twin Peaks, to be fair.
Yeah.
You're quite interested in what's inside the ear rather than why the ear is there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, I'd love to discover what's under the ocean, because there's some really interesting creatures, isn't there, at the bottom of the ocean? Absolutely.
Yes.
You know, for sure. Listen, so I just was wondering now, because you're speaking about your life, Dillon, you are an artist, aren't you?
I am.
You make some really fantastic art, by the way. You started out at school. Could you take us through the process of how you started and what that was like for you?
What, at school?
Like when you started art, yeah.
So I have always been into art ever since I was like 2 years old. So when I was little, I would do like little scribbles. Because I wasn't able to do this as a child, I would normally use this. And throughout my life, there was some good moments and some bad moments. At the start of my life, it was quite struggling for me because because my family was quite poor and we didn't have a lot of money, but the only thing I had was my mum and my siblings, and they were the richest thing. They were like my treasured things in life. And to me, art has really helped me through life. It's helped me to like express my emotions, express my inspiration. If I was upset or if I was like unhappy on that day, I would just do art because it helped me so much, helped me build up my imagination and how I would feel, what I loved. So when I was a kid, I would occasionally draw like Butlins and Haven and like fire engines and penguins, because that was my favourite thing as a child. Especially Haven and Butlins, because it was the only time to be free it was. It was like a different experience. Think about like going to like the Wizard of Oz for Dorothy. Butlins to me is like the Wizard of Oz. It's just magical, it's special. And drawing has always been like a really passionate thing for me. And art in general, if we didn't have art, there wouldn't be a table, there wouldn't be anything. There wouldn't even be cameras filming us. So I think when tutors say, oh, let's cancel art for the sake of money, I'm like, no, art is very vital for life. Art helps those in need. Art helps those who want to be creative and make the world a better place. It makes us more philosophical in making us understand about the human behaviour and how we people behave in general. And the colour and the composition, the form of art makes us quite inspired. It helps us see how people see really. Like example, Picasso did it in cubism, so basically geometric form and sometimes shapes, because that's how he saw it. And it was so unique at the time, especially in the 1910s to the 1960s. And the same for Warhol, Andy Warhol. He normally did screen prints of his favourite subjects, such like Warhol's Campbell's Soup and like American Idols, because he came from like a Czechoslovakia family where his family didn't have a lot of money and they didn't have a lot of things growing up. So he often relied on them because it was escapism and it was a way of positivity at the time.
Oh, wow. That is really interesting. And I'm sure, I don't know if you knew this, John, but basically with the whole Leonardo da Vinci, basically, as you may know, was an artist. He's a multi-talented human being.
He was.
Very multi-talented. He created the design of the first ever airplane or an helicopter. He basically, he had illustrations of a device that could fly. And people often think that he was the revolutionary man that was ahead of his time, and if you saw some of the things that he created, he's often seen as one of the most intelligent men ever to be humans ever to be put in the world.
There's some theories that he actually created like a wooden boy which was like robotic, so it was like clogs which would make the robot move, not particularly out of metal but out of wood.
Oh wow,
Cool that.
that is actually really cool. You know, have you got any particular favourite artists that you like, John?
Not really.
Have you ever,
I mean-
have you ever seen Dillon's art?
I have, yes. Have you brought any art to share with us today?
Oh yes.
I'd love to see some art.
Yes. Would it be possible for us to see it?
Let's
And the
have a
viewers
look.
as well, the lovely viewers at home as well
Lovely
would
viewers,
want to see.
Oh wow, is that what you're working on?
So this is what I recently worked on last month and this month.
It's fantastic.
That is fantastic.
So basically, this is an artwork which is about. So I'm into like social history, like the post-war era, because that was an era which revolutionised the modern Britain, which is today. So since no one did cover the 1950s, I was more like a Louis Theroux like investigator, trying to understand about like the philosophy and how many societal and technological advancements in the 1950s. Such like refrigerators, frozen foods, the television, even though it was only 2 channels at the time, and black and white, and American idealization, the traditionalism of respecting the royal family, and embracing modernity, especially abstract design and furniture, and the introduction of the Mini in 1959. And the reason why the 3 ladies, more specifically the 3 glamour stars, are in front of this portrait is because they are a symbolisation of like hope, female empowerment and individualism, because people in that era started to become more like independent and more like positive, to be fair, about their identity, more comfortable about who they were rather than what the society expected them to be. Because Marilyn Monroe, Diana Dawes and Audrey Hepburn helped many women to like step away from the kitchen and be themselves no matter what, and embrace their sexuality. And I think it's important that many people who want to embrace their identity should embrace their identity. We should never judge a book by the cover, to be fair. It's always about the soul rather than what they intend, what the outlook, what the front says.
I definitely think that you should never judge a book by its cover, for sure, and that is, if you can, I mean, I think I'm going to bring it closer to the camera, Dillin, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So I'll put it in front of this camera here, and that one, just to give you 2 glimpses. So that is, I'll just focus that. There we go, that is the art.
So throughout the years, I entered a variety of competitions, especially when I was 13 and 14, and they have been really crucial for developing more of my confidence, more like my art style and my confidence in producing art. And it's made me more ambitious with how I could like sell my art really to the public and how I could spread my art to the public. Because when I was younger, I didn't have a lot of confidence inside me. I had anxiety, I didn't have a lot of confidence in myself and my identity. So those competitions as a child has really helped me, especially the one at the South Park Fire and Ambulance HQ when I was 14. And that really made me happy. It made me feel like a champion, if I'm honest. And for those who want to continue art or want to do art, do what you love rather than do what they expect. If you do what you love within the soul, the better the outcome will be, and never ever become afraid to experiment. And after those competitions around like 2015, when I started to have a depression at the start of the term, I entered the competition, and there was this one publication that decided to do an article about me, about my art, about what my art was doing. So basically at the time, my art was quite flat and it was cartoony, inspired by Simpsons, Martin Brown, and all the cartoonists that really inspired me. And my art was primarily based on like Lincoln and social history, and to see that on the magazine was a great achievement at the time. And in around 2020 to 2021, the COVID wars, I was commissioned to paint an imp, which was really beautiful, and it made me a better artist because I got to understand, participate in a really significant event. And it made me more aware of painting on different surfaces and like painting on like sculptural things. And if I was ever commissioned that again, I would more than welcome, be happy to paint.
Absolutely.
After the development on the Lincoln imp, I decided to develop more my portfolio, more like with my traditional like cartoony works. And when Miss Emily gave the portfolio to my level 1 tutor, who was an excellent tutor and a really nice guy, the college decided to let me have a place in level 1, which really meant a lot to me at the time, and it was such special to me. And when I left St. Christopher's, it was quite an emotional time it was. I was very emotional because I was going to a place that was quite new to me and very, very mainstream. But as I got to like level 1, I left my cartoony stuff away because I thought that wouldn't be too appropriate for my work, and I was quite interestingly ambitious at the time because I wanted to experiment more with watercolours, acrylics, animation and clay work, and that's really strengthened my art because years ago I would use like the basic pens, pencil and crayons, but now I would work with a variety of mediums with a thanks to the college for supporting me and strengthening my confidence. As I got into like level 2, I didn't want to do my works on paper, so I decided to do an experiment one day where I did an experiment onto a glass surface, and I would use inks onto a white coated layer onto like the glass, and that worked really well because when the ink is applied onto the white coating, that means the ink would colorise the lightness of the white acrylic, and that's really made me more aware of the different surfaces that I can use for my work. The reason why I do create most of my work on different surfaces is not because it's random or it's because of time. It's because I'm interested in how those mediums are affected onto those surfaces. More specifically, it's a symbolisation that art shouldn't be on paper or like a canvas. Art can be anywhere. Art can be spread onto like George's t-shirt or John's glasses. Art is for everyone really. Art should be an expression that everyone can have. We should all be artistic and have the ability to speak. It's like that 1984 quote, freedom is the freedom to say 2 + 2 = 4.
You gotta give for what you take.
Yes.
But no, I totally, I totally agree. It's a wonderful way to express yourself. It's a wonderful way to convey emotion. It's part of art. Is everything really. There's multiple facets to art, isn't there? There's the art of music, there's the art of performing and performing arts, photography, putting things onto a palette and expressing. I just love, because you're still performing there, aren't you? You're showcasing what you're seeing, a political statement, you know, and art can be interpreted in many of ways, can't it?
Plus the beautiful thing about art is the characteristics and the personality, where you could see like brushstrokes and they're the beauty of the soul, whereas like AI is like mushy and very, very very artificial and lifeless. Like if you see like, so if you see like a AI Bart Simpson, he would have 3 eyes and like 3 fingers, and you have Mickey Mouse ears.
Seen that. I mean, you can have an alien, can't you, John?
I saw actually this morning
7 toes.
7 toes with Dillin, not Norwich. And apologies for any of our viewers who are in Norwich. I saw this thing, speaking of AI this morning.
Yeah.
My friend showed me this thing on his phone. It was an AI of Ian Beale.
Oh, God.
Ian Beale taking his top off and 6-pack. It was really weird. Really weird. And then there was
No
one
way.
where Phil Mitchell turned into a balloon and just started spinning around. It's scary. It's scary what you can do with AI.
It's interesting what you can achieve with artificial intelligence these days. Now,
It's kind of creepy.
John is going to intellectually pick your brain with a few quick fire questions today.
Yes, and you're the first person, obviously the third guest.
Yes.
So George kind of did this with me in the first couple of episodes. So I'm going to ask you some quick fire questions now.
Okay.
Just basic, short, quick answer, and we'll go from there. So, what's your favourite food?
My favourite food.
Good start at that one.
It's got to be a beef jalfrezi with like garlic rice and naan bread, specifically from Castleview Indian cuisine, which I had for my 20th birthday last year.
Nice.
And my God, it was beautiful. It was like if I was in Indian heaven.
Indian heaven. I love that. So, wow, that's your favourite food.
Yes.
What is your... so if you were to go to McDonald's right now, what do you fancy?
It's got to be. Could it be like any McDonald's item?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. The world is your oyster.
Oh my. It's got to be a Big Mac with cheese melts like they do around Christmas, chips, and a Coca-Cola with like a couple triple cheese cheeseburgers, and sweet and sour dip to dunk the chips.
Oh, you know what? Now you're talking, I tell you. Absolutely.
Favourite TV show?
Favourite TV show? That's very...
There's a lot, isn't there?
Yes. My favourite TV show? I got lots, I have.
If you had to pick one that you could watch forever, even if you've watched all the episodes or anything like that, one series or just any show that you could watch, and that'd be the only show you'd watch ever.
Oh, it's got to be Only Fools and Horses.
Who's your favourite character?
It's got to be Doughboy.
Oh boy, yeah.
Can't say I've ever really seen that.
Yeah, it is quite funny, to be fair.
Yes.
Got a lot of British humour in
British
there.
humour.
Absolutely. David Beckham's underpants as well.
Yes.
So Dillin, that's another question, and I asked John this as well. Who's your favourite soap character?
My favourite soap character?
Yeah.
I don't tend to watch most soap characters.
I prefer Dove, to be honest.
Yeah. Could it be like drama characters?
It can be anything.
Oh, my favourite drama character has to be Tommy Shelby out of Peaky Blinders.
Tommy Shelby.
Yeah.
Is there any characters that you can give us an impression of?
Oh, this is fun.
I can do a Sydney James expression.
Oh, wow.
Go on, George. Give us some.
I'm not in mind to be messed with, Les. Les, why is Stephen not progressing at the rate that I tell you him to progress at? He's failed his exams again, so he has.
It's classic, that one.
Go on, John.
Oh, no, I gave mine.
Oh, no.
last
We,
time.
us two have just embarrassed ourselves doing an impression, and you're just copying out like that.
You'll have to...
This is a right that you can't avoid, John.
I can't avoid.
Knowing me, knowing you.
I'm not sure I could do that one. Phil Mitchell, probably.
Pronounce you, man, waffle.
Probably Phil Mitchell. There he goes. Hey, get out of my pub. That's not Phil Mitchell. That's Peggy Mitchell. Get out of my pub, sing your hook. Saucy.
Yeah.
Phil Mitchell, I'd like to say I could do a Phil Mitchell, but I can't because like his voice is I can't really explain what Phil Mitchell sounds like other than he's a Cockney geezer.
Eggs, sausage roll, Scotch egg, sausage roll. Oh, Sharon, get out my house, get out my pub.
Phil, he's going through a lot at the minute.
He is going through a lot. Yeah, have you watched a bit of EastEnders recently?
I used to watch EastEnders when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But mostly I'm quite interested in Coronation Street
Yeah,
because of you guys watching it in around year 11, year 10.
Oh yeah. See, I switched. So from like for a little while I was EastEnders, and I was back to Corrie, and then now I'm back to EastEnders.
He's originally a Liverpool fan too. He likes to
Shut up.
Oh yeah.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
And the Everton fan?
Not true. That's not true. No. But yeah, so I'll watch a certain soap every now and again, and then I'll watch another soap. It's the same as TV series, really, but all I watch at the minute.
The only time I ever watch a soap is when I'm washing it and it goes right into my armpits, you know, gets rid of that BO, you know. I'm not going to mention any companies unless you sponsor us, and then I'll mention you. I'll mention you all the time, you know what I mean?
I think my favourite soap character probably has to be Phil Mitchell.
Your favourite character has to be Phil, does it? Yeah, I'd agree. He's just an undeniable legend.
Surely, everybody, if you're not British, you might not know him, but if you're British, I'm sure even if you don't watch like TV, I'm sure everyone knows who Phil Mitchell is.
Oh, of course.
He's the stereotype for this like classic hard man, you know, leather jacket, jeans, bald head. He's a stereotype, and actually him and Grant Mitchell were based off the Craze, I believe.
Yeah, I think they might
that was
have
the
been.
whole
Yeah.
the whole basis of it. They were based off the Craze, so Phil Mitchell's an icon. Actually, my brother had a mate once, and I was a bit younger. My brother had a mate, and every time he walked in the pub, I always used to see him, and I'd just say, "All right, Phil Mitchell." But he was a ginger bloke, and do you remember when Phil Mitchell had hair and a beard many years ago? Yeah, I used to think him. I remember he used to think like he looked like Phil Mitchell, but he was a ginger. He was one of my brother's mates who he worked with, and I just every time
Is Phil Mitchell ginger?
No, he's good. He's not a ginger.
I don't really want to invite Steve McFadden onto the podcast now because I think he might be offended that you called him ginger.
I think he's a big softie in real life, you know.
Imagine this. I'd love him to come on and go,
Oi, you've been saying I'm ginger. Hey,
He's a big softie though.
Hey!
Steve. You'll find him like doing pantos at Christmas and stuff. He's
that
not
is
like
really
he's
sweet.
not like Ross Kemp who goes to all like this like acts like Phil Mitchell's brother Grant Mitchell. He goes all over and goes to like.
a gun pulled on him. He says, "You won't shoot me."
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
He's in the rainforest
Yeah.
and they pull a gun out on him and he's just, "You're going to kill me, you're not going to fucking kill me." And then they just put the gun down and they just start laughing. It's like, it's cold. It's cold.
Did I pass your initiation test? Did I? Yes, you did. And then he starts smoking a bit of the Mary Whiner, a bit of the the old wacky.
Can you imagine if we ever invited Ross Kemp onto the podcast?
I mean, it would be interesting.
Stories we've had to tell, mate. He's been all over the planet.
I mean, we're kind of, need to get out more compared to Ross Kemp, don't we? We really do.
We'll be in HMP Belmarsh next week interviewing the prisoners.
I hope not. I hope not.
It's either that or a trip to Afghanistan. Following the military around.
I reckon you could be like the new Louis Theroux, matey.
Nah, Louis Theroux, he's a sound bloke, but he's too soppy.
John.
Come on,
No, he's
matey.
Pot and kettle.
He's too. What, you calling me soppy? I know I am a bit soppy.
You said in the last podcast, I like to think I'm a softie.
Bit of a softie, yeah.
Yeah.
Bit of a softie.
I mean,
But if they ever put me in a series or a show, they won't cast me as the villain.
No.
I don't think they could do
They'd
that. And I
make
wouldn't
you-
want them to do that.
You'd be like Curly off Coronation Street.
Curly.
Yeah.
Curly, my wife.
Curly.
Stood behind the bar like Raquel.
Curly. So, lastly, is there anything that you'd like to add on to today's edition? Because it's been a pleasure having you on, but is there anything you'd like to add?
I just want to say thank you guys so much for reuniting I really enjoyed the experience of both of you, and it's been one of the highlights of today.
That's really
As well, for those who are watching, always be inspired by your loved ones and never take every day for granted. Live life and love life very much. Life is like a river that you wish to swim through, or others would say life is like a roller coaster that you enjoy, whether it's bumpy or if it's high.
Oh God, John's out.
Saying anything.
John's
I'm
out.
not saying anything.
Apologies, Still, that was a really serious moment, and then go on.
And just appreciate life and appreciate all your friends, all the things you do, and make the most of every moment, because every day doesn't last that long. And just do what you enjoy, what the heart tells you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for today, everyone, and please support this amazing guy, George Cahoon and John Fowler.
Thank you, Dill. Been a pleasure.
It's been absolutely. Thank you very much, guys. It's been a pleasure having you on. I totally agree. Live every day like it's your laugh, like it's your last, like it's your laugh. Yeah, I like having a laugh. Like it's your last. Live every day like it's your last, and just have fun, man.
Yes.
Vibe. What about you, John? Have you got any departing comments?
I'd just say what a pleasure it's been to have you on, Dill.
Absolute pleasure. Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate it, Dill.
Thank you.
And we shall see you guys soon.
Thanks for all the support on the first couple of episodes.
Yeah, no, I want to add that actually. Yeah, me being a naughty boy, we appreciate the support on our TikTok. Appreciate the support on our Instagram. Spotify should be up very soon. We've also got a Twitter account, an X account. Look at me being back in 2018. X account. So we've got all that going on for you guys today, and so would appreciate you giving us a follow on there. We Weekly Free on all the socials, and they'll be linked in the description. And by the way, I will say this as well. Very appreciate the support very much on all the TikToks, all the likes, all the comments. I've heard that you've enjoyed some of these moments, and hopefully we can create more of them. So yeah, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.